And those are the women that you need to be with. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if you need to be with them, because then she would be getting with a fool.
So this is a legitimate question a lot of men have, but really pay attention to her answer. Subscribe. Let's talk about it.
What is a man's incentive for being a stepfather, y'all?
Some of y'all are way too old to be having conversations like this or asking silly questions. I expect this from somebody that's in their 20s. But from a man who looks like they're in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, this is trash talk. What is the incentive on being a stepfather? The incentive is the same thing you're getting by posting videos on this app and you haven't reached 10,000 followers and you're not getting paid. But you want to put trash out into the world. And what I have come to the conclusion of is that men are doing this because they have baby mamas out there with children and they don't want a stepfather raising their children. They would rather the baby mama do it by themselves. That's what I believe. Because why would you care? If you don't want to be a stepfather, nobody's forcing you. Don't date a woman with children. Don't waste her time if you're not going to be serious. Move around and go find you somebody with no children. There are plenty of women out here who do not have children. And those are the women that you need to be with. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if you need to be with them, because then she would be getting with a fool.
So, of course, it looks like, the question struck a nerve, but we want to use this to highlight a very simple thing. When this is a legitimate concern that men are asking, this is not just a facetious question, even though it can sometimes be asked that way on the internet, and then the response be a canned response like this, like, you're upset. Cool, but you didn't answer the question. And this is what the reason, right? The reason I think men are asking that question is because part of it is part of this process of deprogramming how we were raised to be, where the thought was, you're supposed to be willing to step up. We in the 90s and early 2000s, that was the modus operandi. We were praising men for being stepfathers, ignoring or not even bringing up any type of the peril that can also come with that. We wanted men to move into these positions blindly, and they did. We were happy. But the minute men started questioning that and having real conversations about that and asking, well, what's the benefit of this? Because from what I can see, it's kind of littered with some peril. When you don't have an answer for that, but you still respond or you still expect men to get in line, that's when you get these aggressive sort of responses that never address the question. So what do we know? It's going to be a shame, insult, and so I'm going to guilt him into this. That's all you did in this entire thing, is just kind of insult him. Now we're going to use this to talk about a larger phenomenon, that very same phenomenon, but on a larger scale. Why men, when they have a point online, why you're ashamed, why you're insulted, I need you to get on code in order for this thing to move forward. For us, when you ask that question, you get a response like this. What it says to us is that you don't have any sort of accountability to look at yourself and say, realize this is not the most advantageous position to be in while dating. This is not to say that we're sitting here being hypercritical of your decisions in your life or your child. We're just saying we can hold multiple concepts at the same time and be able to discuss one on one hand and one on the other. We're not saying that you've lost some sort of value as a human, as a person on this planet, but when they're saying that this becomes a complication when dating you or trying to be with you, when you keep running from that, very answer to the very concept, this very basic concept, that's when we start looking and saying the lack of accountability is screaming. Again, this doesn't have to be a negative thing, but when you walk around and you try to avoid this one salient point so hard, it can't help but to put the spotlight on it. Listen, before we continue, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. Still going strong, still trying to do 2 a day. So we got live coming up this Sunday. We got merch. Membership is open on the channel. So hype the video and share the video. Listen, the point here is when you don't like something that a man has to say or a man has a different point of view, you can start to see that instead of engaging with the topic, right? And let's be clear, she picked this video to respond to. You didn't have to. If you didn't have a response outside of calling him names and telling him, and just kind of insulting him because he's asking a question, not probably directly towards you, but you feel like this is important to put out there. You give your own conclusion on what it is, but you never about him, but you never really talk about what he has to say. That's becomes why we have trouble communicating. All it reads to us as men is an accountability dodge. That's it. And once we walk into that, we just say, okay, well, what's the point of continuing the conversation? And this is just saying from us, from experience, we realize I can't run you down and try to make you see logic. I can't run you down and try to make you see your point. Most people do not have their minds changed. We don't have that society that supports that sort of narrative anymore. You hear something new, and if it doesn't fit your worldview, then it's something wrong, it's something to be ignored, or something to be shot down almost immediately. This is why we have so much trouble getting across the line or doing very, very basic things together. If you don't agree with me, then I can get rid of you. I can say there's someone else out there for you, but I also don't think you should be dating. I don't think you should be doing this. Who are you to make these claims? Even if you don't have a kid, and there's some parts of it that I agree with. If you don't want to be a stepfather, then don't date women with kids. Absolutely fine. I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can have that conversation, answer his question without kind of shouting him down, without him being wronged for his opinion. So in a larger sense, men end up just saying, okay, if this is what's happening, we're going to do what we normally do. We're just going to kind of withdraw. We're not going to have the conversation. We don't want to feel like we're talking to a brick wall where there's no sense of movement on your point of view. You don't want to see, very basically, what someone is asking, what is the incentive for a man being a stepfather? And you can't give that. And there's several other things you could have said. Right? You're impacting the life of a small child that looks like you, that would otherwise have lacked this sort of discipline in life. There's a joy you get from being a parent that you may not experience. You haven't had the opportunity to experience that. It's not saying that you have to do it here, but that is a thing that you can get from it. That's a good point. That's an easier thing, that's easier digestible when you hear that, rather than just insulting someone because you don't like that men are looking and say, hey, I don't want to deal with a single mom. And once you became a single mom, it's a genie that's outside the bottle. You can't do anything about that. But all it does is point out, hey, you made some choices before, those didn't pan out the way you want. That's life. That happens to a lot of us. When you multiply those choices, and now it's, you got 4 babies, 5 babies, right? Now we're looking and say, okay, these are all decisions. You having a child doesn't mean it's the end of the world, doesn't mean it's the end of your dating game. Offline, in the real world, single moms are still going on dates, still getting married, still having proper outcomes, but they're probably a lot more accountable to what's happening in their life. They're a lot more understanding of, yeah, my schedule is tighter, my workload is tighter, things get more complex, but because of that, I give this. Here's the incentive. The way I am as a woman, because of this child, what I've learned, all of this is what you also walk into. But we don't want to have that conversation. We'd much rather just sit there and make fun of someone rather than trying to say, hey, let's have this conversation and bridge this gap. But again, I could be wrong, right? Let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to Sound My Voice now, you have not subscribed, I think you should. We're just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.